The detectives fighting organised crime is one of the most brutal and quite graphic true crime documentaries that I've seen in quite a long time. Certainly a British true crime documentary. This is a new BBC show, and 2 episodes out of 5 have aired so far. I was going to wait until the end of this series to discuss it, but I thought, no, I'll do it now, because then if anybody does want to watch it, there's a better chance of you being able to actually get it on iPlayer. And if my opinions change by the end of it, I'll do an update, but to be honest, I'm really enjoying it so far. I don't think my opinions will change too much. Now, this, as the title suggests, looks at detectives fighting organised crime. It does what it says on the tin. I thought that would be like massive drug busts and, really kind of gangster high enterprises for career criminals, which is not something that I'm that interested in. Maybe prefer is not the right word, but I prefer more localised crime, more personal crime, rather than big gangs and things. But it actually kind of mixes the two, and it works really well. I don't want to go into too much details about the 2 episodes that have aired, because I don't want to spoil it. It is really fascinating, the details that they go into. But in the first episode, it deals with a gang that are kidnapping people. And so we have the big gang, but at the same time, we have the kind of one-on-one threats with these individual people, and we get to actually see either police or paramedic body cam footage, I'm not sure which it was, of one of the kidnapped victims once they've been kidnapped, tortured, and then just dumped on the road. And the state of this person is just absolutely horrific, and it's just so brutal. I didn't expect that level of, graphic quality. And it's amazing, because it's brilliant to see what they actually did, because you can see how powerful they are and how much of a problem this is. It doesn't sugarcoat anything. It says, this is what's happening, it needs to stop. And it's so awful. We hear a 999 call, and there's a lot of kind of CCTV footage. We follow the detectives as they piece together bits of information. We get to see interviews. There's one, I believe it was the second episode, where somebody is shot in a street, and they obviously finally arrest somebody at some point. And the person they arrest when they're interviewing him, he doesn't seem nasty. You can understand why he did what he did, or rather, what led him to doing that. And this is where I feel the criminal justice system really lets people down, because, well, you'll see when you watch it, but people with mental health problems are just ignored. People will go to prison. And I also have to point out, by the way, they don't necessarily show what happened to these people, whether they went to prison, what sentences they got. But I think pretty much most of these you could Google, and they're quite high-profile cases, so I'm sure that information is online. But I think a lot of people with mental health issues who commit crimes go to prison, and they just go to standard prisons, maybe a reform prison, but still, even if they're in a reform prison, the help isn't there. They are treated like prisoners with who don't have mental health problems, who have the ability to kind of work towards their own reform. Sometimes they're in IPP, which means that they haven't even got a release date, and the prison system's a mess. That's irrelevant to this show, but the point is, we get to look at different individuals committing crimes. It's not just the same gang-based people or anything like that. It's a good mix. It's, as I said, it's quite graphic. It doesn't sugarcoat anything. There's a good understanding here for the viewer of what it's like being a detective with Greater Manchester Police, and the procedures they need to go through, and the pitfalls. It's not all rosy. There was one point where a detective asked if they could get DNA from something, or it was blood, and they wanted to work out if it was menstrual blood or other blood, I guess. And apparently the technology for that doesn't exist yet, which I didn't know. So it's really informative, very interesting. We get to hear from a lot of industry professionals who clearly know what they're talking about and are clearly experienced. But alongside that level of professionalism, you get to feel the emotion. You get to feel how excited they are when they get the next step, or when they can get a conviction, or when they're allowed to arrest somebody. you're so involved in this. And this is only 2 episodes in, and I'm already really passionate about this. I can't wait for the next 3 episodes. It airs... I don't know when it airs because I watch it on iPlayer. But it's once a week, 3 episodes left. I cannot wait to watch them. If you like true crime, definitely check out the first 2 episodes. They are, as I said, on iPlayer, but I believe the second episode will be repeated on BBC at some point imminently. I love the series. I hope it's commissioned for a second series. It's brilliant to watch, so engaging, absolutely love it. I cannot recommend it enough.